Welcome back. It's day 11. This is great. So we're all the way up to Job 29. And this will be Job continuing to talk. And then tomorrow we will hear from Elihu, the young friend. So we're getting very close to hearing from God and Job being restored. So don't quit now, because you're getting to the good parts. Job 29. Job recalls his former glory. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, Oh, that I were as in months past, and in the days when God preserved me, when his candle shined upon my head, and when his light I walked through darkness, as I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacle, when the Almighty was yet with me, and when my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil. When I went to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, that's, he was very respected in the town in which he lived. And when you have a seat in the street, that means you're like a leader. It will be, like our mayor, um, this is the way they handled things. That we'll read about more about that later, like Job sitting in the gate of the city. So people who did that were very well respected and they were leaders. And he's remembering the times when, he had all of his money and he had his wealth, and people knew he loved God, and he had kind words for people, and he was really well respected, and he was sitting in the street and probably people came by and said, Hey Job, how are you today? And he had kind words for people. He's remembering this time. The young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged rose up and stood up. The princes refrained from talking, who laid their hand in their mouth. Like, he's very well respected, by the old, the young, and everyone. The nobles held their peace, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard me, it blessed me, and when the eye saw me, it gave witness to me. Because I delivered the poor that cried, and the fatherless, and him that had none to help him. So that's where it says here, Job's helping the poor. So he's a really well respected dude who was very kind to people. The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and diadem. I was eyes to the blind, I was feet to the lame, I was father to the poor. And the cause which I knew not I searched out, and I break the jaws of the wicked, and pluck the spoil out of his teeth. Then I said, I shall die in my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the sand. My root was spread out by waters, and all the dew all laid up by my branch. My glory was fresh in me, and my bow was renewed in my head. Unto men give ear, and waited, and kept silence in my counsel. After my words they spake not again, and my speech dropped upon them. And they waited for me as for the rain, and opened their mouth as wide as the latter rain. And if I laughed on them, they believed it not. And the light of my countenance they cast not down. I chose out their way, and set chief, and dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforted the mourners. So he's just saying, man, I really miss that time. And I don't know if, that happens in life. We'll have like money coming in, and our health is great, and then all of a sudden 1 week later it's like we just got slammed into a wall, and we're like, man, I wish it was last week. Wish I was more grateful when things were good. Job 30. Job bewails his present affliction. Behold, that now they that are younger than me have me in derision. So all it took was Job losing everything and being covered in boils, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, haha, isn't that this is so mean? It's like you look up to somebody when they have money, but then when they lose it, you're like, you cast them aside. It happens all the time I mean, all you have to do is look at the news. You see some popular Hollywood whatever, and then they do something crazy and they're just cast aside like garbage. People are really fickle. So worrying about what they think about us is futile. Whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. Whereto might the strength of their hands profit, sorry, me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from men. They cried after them as a thief, to dwell in the clefts of the rock valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under nettles they gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Now I am their song, and I am their byword. They abhor me, they flee from me, they spare not to spit on my face, because he hath loosed my cord and hath afflicted me. They have let loose the bridle before me, and upon my right hand raise the youth, and they push up my feet, and they raise against me the ways of their destruction. They mar my path. They set forward my calamity. They have no helper. They come upon me as a wide breaking in of the waters. In the desolation, they rolled themselves upon me. Terrors are turned upon me. They pursue my soul as the wind, and my welfare passes away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out upon me. The days of my affliction have taken hold upon me. My bones are pierced in me in the night season, and in my sinews take no rest. By the great force of my disease is my garment changed. It bindeth me about as the color of my coat. He cast me into the mire, and I'm become like dust and ashes. I cry unto thee, and thou dost hear me. I stand up, and thou regardest me not. Thou art become cruel to me. And with thy strong hand thou opposest thyself against me. Thou liftest me up to the wind, and causes me to ride upon it. Thou dissolvest my substance, for I know that thou wilt bring me to death into the house appointed for the living. Howbeit he will not stretch out his hand to the grave, though they cry in his destruction. Did I not weep for him that was in trouble? Was my soul not grieved for the poor? When I looked for good, then evil came unto me, and when I waited for it, there came darkness. My bowels boiled and rested not. The days of affliction prevented me. I went mourning out without the sun. I stood up and cried in the congregation. I am a brother to dragons and a companion to owls. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burning with heat. My harp was turned to mourning, and my organ into the voice of them that weeps. And that one's just really sad. Poor Job. So he's contrasting how he feels now versus how he used to feel when he felt like he was respected. And I believe this is the last one, 31. Yep, this is day 11. So this will be our last one for today. And then tomorrow we will get into Elihu, and he'll speak for a couple of days, and then God will speak, and then Job's going to get restored. We have 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 more days left, and Job's going to get everything back. He's going to get back double. So yay, spoiler alert. Job asserts his integrity. I have made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? For what portion of God is there from above, and what inheritance of the Almighty from on high is not destruction to the wickedness and strange punishment to the workers of iniquity? Doth he not see my ways and count all my steps? I love that verse. God sees our ways and counts our steps. It says that a lot in Proverbs. There's one, I think it's Isaiah 30:21, where it says right or left. God has my ways. I love that verse. If I had walked with vanity, or if my foot hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know mine integrity. He's like, I don't know what I've done wrong. Like, I have a clear conscience before God. And I wish I understood. If my step turned out of the way, and my heart went after mine own eyes, or if any blot cleaved to mine hands, then let me sow and let another eat. Let my offspring be rooted out. If my heart has been deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait in my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind unto another, and let others bow down upon her. For this is a heinous crime, yet it is iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumes the destruction, and would rot out all mine increase. If I did despise the cause of my maidservant or of my manservant, and they contended with me, what shall I do when God rises up? And when he visits, what shall I answer him? Did did he not make me in the womb? And did he not fashion us in the womb? If I had withheld the poor from their desire, have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or if I have eaten the morsel myself alone, and the fatherless hath not eaten, or from my youth he was brought up as with a father, and I guided her from my mother's womb. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless when I saw help in the gate, then let mine arm fall from my shoulder blade, and my arm be broken from the bone. For destruction from God was a terror to me, and by reason of his highness I could not endure. If I made gold my hope, or if I said to find gold, thou art my confidence. If I rejoiced because my wealth was great, and because mine hand had gotten much, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart had been secretly enticed, or my mouth kissed my hand, these also were iniquity to be punished by the judge. For I should have denied the God that is above. If I rejoiced at the destruction of him that hated me, or lifted up myself when evil found him, neither have I suffered my mouth to sin by wishing a curse to his soul. If the men of my tabernacle said not, oh, that we had of his flesh, we cannot be satisfied. The stranger did not lodge in the street, but I opened my doors to the traveler. If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding mine iniquity in my bosom, Did I fear a great multitude, or did the contempt of families terrify me, that I kept silence and went not at the door? Oh, that one would hear me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty would answer me, and that mine adversary had written a book. Surely it would take it upon my shoulder and bind it as a crown to me. I would declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince I go near to him. If my land cry against me, or that furrows likewise thereof complain, if I have eaten the fruits thereof without money, or had caused the owners thereof to lose their life, let thistles grow instead of wheat, and cockle instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. So this is the last thing that Job is going to say, and the last thing the friends are going to say. Elihu's going to speak, and then God's going to speak from the sky. It's going to be awesome. Who is this who speaks? It's going to be so good. Wait, a couple days we'll be there. But yeah, so Job is saying, I don't know what I did wrong. I wish God would tell me. And um and all of this is just him speaking out in pain. I think the only part where he's a little misguided is here. I would declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince, I would go near to him. Like we're going to walk up in front of God and be like, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. Although I've done that before, me and my mouthy self, like, Lord, I don't understand. I'm doing everything you asked me to do. Why am I in this situation? All prideful, like, oh, I've had so many moments of Job. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, there we go. So that was 29 to 31. So we have 4 days left, as we said. So we've got tomorrow we'll hear from Elihu, and then we'll hear from God, and then Job will get restored. Yeah, this was 31. Oh no, we have a few more days. We have 21. I can't count. No, we have 4 more days. That's right. I'm jumping ahead. I'm such an idiot. Yeah, we have 32 to 34 tomorrow, and then we'll have, and that'll be Elihu, and then Elihu will finish up on day 13, and day 14, God's going to speak, and day 15, Job gets restored. So just a few more days, and we'll have finished our first book in the Bible. Yay! God's so awesome. And then we'll go back to Genesis and finish that up. So, with that, be blessed, and make sure you listen to Tara-Leigh. She does a really good job on today. The Bible recap. You can look for it on YouTube, or I have a link down below, and just look for her. The easiest way will be the link, but day 12. And please, my goal is to be a sower of seeds, which is God's word, as he says in his parable of the sower and the seed. And I just want to get this out to as many people as possible so they can have the word of God in their heart, because it has made such an impact in my life. Getting through the first time can be hard. It can be boring, difficult. It can feel like a slog. And there's going to be moments where you just are like, how do I live without it? Once you get through it the first time, you will definitely say, how did I live without it? Because God will reward you for making it through this journey the first time. So I'm very proud of you. If you feel compelled, please like and subscribe and share, so that way we can get these seeds out to more people. Paul plants, Apollos waters, and God brings the increase. Have a blessed and beautiful day, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.